His favorite comedian was Buddy Wackett, by the way. But I don't. Do you really want to put a rookie next to a second year guy who's basically another rookie because he didn't play a whole lot last year? Like, to me, that's just setting up for, neither one of them have the opportunity to really learn. They're both just forced to survive. So again, in my opinion, the Vikings, that's what they do, is they take Clemmings, start him at right tackle. I think that's a no-brainer. But then at that right guard position, you take veteran Joe Berger, and you start him there. Now, should anyone else get injured on the interior of the offensive line, then you enter David Yankee into the equation, and Joe Berger has the flexibility to where if Sullivan goes down, Joe Berger then's your backup center, and you can start David Yankee at right guard. Or maybe then you move Fusco back to right guard to kind of make the line a little more even, and then you plug in Yankee next to Khalil, who's hopefully by this point in time having a good season. And you'll allow Yankee to play his more natural position of left guard. But so that is why all those... Oh, and by the way, they did go out and sign a backup offensive tackle now for depth purposes. His last name is Gooden. Don't expect anybody not named Clemmings to be starting at right tackle for the Vikings now that Phil Lodeholt is out for the season. Like I said, he's the guy now at that position, and it is the right guard position again, which is up for competition. And like I said, in my opinion, it is a two-man competition between veteran Joe Double Cheeseburger and second-year man David. I don't play for the Yankee. God, that was awful. I'm so sorry. That's what happens when you decide to tell a joke halfway through. You're already accidentally telling it, and you don't have a punchline of any sorts, and whatever. So apologies, but they can't all be gold. If they were all gold, then it wouldn't be special anymore. So you're welcome. All right. But anyway, that's the state of the Vikings offensive line here at the moment. What happened, what they're doing, and where you should expect and hope for them to go with their plans as far as who's doing what. Also had some injury on the defensive side of the ball. Defensive tackle Steven Stamar, I don't know, like our fourth or fifth string defensive tackle. He's injured now as well. I believe there's a running back injured as well. DeJuan Harris or Joe Banyard or one of these garbage guys that probably ain't going to make the team. Again, I cannot stress enough, now more than ever, with the load hold injury and just with the way the NFL works, we cannot eat up an entire spot on our roster, on our depth chart, for a guy who just plays fullback. It can't be done. It's nonsensical for how often we play call with a fullback and how many other people there are on the roster at technically other positions that can do all the same things that you ask that position to do on any given play that they're out there. I just don't see how we can justify keeping Zach Line or any full-time fullback on the roster. It would be a huge mistake if the Vikings do continue to go that route. I am afraid that they are going to. Just everything I see and feel from how the organization is feeling standpoint, I don't think they're planning on going my route. But hopefully they realize that it's the only intelligent thing to do. There is no reason that if you want to run a 2 tight end set with a fullback and a halfback, that you can't just put Rhett Ellison at fullback, a la Jimmy Kleinsaucer, and then have Kyle Rudolph and Michael Pruitt as your 2 tight ends, especially if it's a passing situation. If you're looking to run or pass, then you can have Chase Ford and Kyle Rudolph be the 2 tight ends, with Ellison in the backfield alongside or in front of Adrian Peterson. It allows you to keep these 4 tight ends. And you need to keep these 4 tight ends, by the way. And then also, in the event that you're looking for the fullback to either be the ball carrier or a decoy as a ball carrier, a legitimate, decoy ball carrier, where you receive the fake handoff and people actually respect it because you can take the handoff, then you throw Matt Asiata back there in those plays. People forget he started out as a fullback. He is originally, naturally, by coaching and by nature, a fullback who was converted to halfback. In part because of size restrictions. He's not quite ideal size and strength for a fullback, but also out of necessity of team injuries and things of that nature, what his team asked him to do. So if you want to have 2 tight ends or even 3 tight ends, let's go jumbo I package, okay? 3 tight ends, 2 running backs. We've got Kyle Rudolph, Michael Pruitt, and Chase Ford all on tight end. And then we've got, if we're looking to power run, we've got Rhett Ellison at fullback and AP as running back. If we're looking to potentially pass, play action, handoff to the fullback, you plug Asiata in there at fullback instead of Ellison, and then you move Ellison up into Michael Pruitt's spot, and so then your 3 tight ends are Rudolph, Ellison, and Ford. Doesn't that sound awesome? Don't both of those scenarios where this is the most we would ever use any of these people all at one time, doesn't that just work out? Doesn't that sound great? So why, when you've already got a tight end on your team that can play fullback, and you've already got a halfback on your team that can play fullback, and you don't need or use a fullback all that often in your play calling, why in the world would you consume an entire roster spot for a fullback? It makes no sense unless you have an elite level, impact level fullback on your team. There's no sensible reason to it. And sorry, Zach Line, but you are not anywhere near an elite level. Fullback. You're not. I don't know him personally, so I can't say that. I need to slow down. But he is not anywhere near an elite level fullback. So, again, I implore the Vikings to do the right thing. Again, it's nothing personal, but please, on final cut day, cut Zach Line. Start incorporating Rhett Ellison and Matt Asiata into the fullback training and reps in practice, and allow us to have an extra offensive lineman or an extra wide receiver or an extra secondary guy or an extra defensive lineman or an extra linebacker. Any of those would be more valuable than a guy who just plays fullback. And I'm sure they'd stick him on special teams too, but filling your special teams isn't a worry. Okay, we don't focus on that. That's for the prospects to prove themselves. That's not for someone to find a permanent job and home in. There are no more Steve Taskers like that, or if there are, you don't know their names, and they don't make a whole lot of money by NFL player standards. So, all right, now let's see just a couple other quick Vikings names on the rosters that are either going up or down in stock. Stefon Diggs, rookie wide receiver, continues to impress and climb the depth chart. I think he is firmly locking himself in at the number 4 wide receiver position, as well as sporadic special teams duties, returning kicks, which leaves then Adam Thielen and Cordero Patterson. We will for sure keep 5 wide receivers. I believe it is for sure in our best interest to have 6 wide receivers on the roster, which leaves Thielen and Patterson both making the Vikings team, but they are the final to make it. No other people at that position will make it. So your Vikings wide receiver core should be, and hopefully will be, Mike Wallace, Charles Johnson, my man Jarius Wright, friend of the Scotty Ball family, true dat, Stefon Diggs at number 4, and then Thielen and Patterson. Now, the Vikings running backs behind AP have not been very impressive. McKinnon and Asiata are guaranteed to be on the team yet, so we will for sure have those 3. However, of the other halfbacks competing to be on the team, they're all having fumble issues. None of them have been very productive in these 2 preseason games. So do not, and AP's history, he's had 1 injury season and then 1, off-field issues season. But other than that, he doesn't miss time. He's reliable. So I'm okay with 3 running backs if that's what we end up with. If it's AP, McKinnon, and Asiata now. But I do believe there will be a 4th halfback on there. Not sure who it'll be. It's anyone's guess yet. Someone's got to step up and win it. But so we'll see what happens there. And then we already went over the tight ends, the O-line, and the fullback position. So that would just give us the defensive side of the ball then. Look for us to keep as many defensive linemen as possible. We will cut a defensive tackle or 2 yet. We'll probably only cut 1 defensive end yet. I think we keep, obviously Griffin and Robeson are on the team, but after that you've got Scott Crichton, who I think for sure is there. Currently he's a defensive end on the team. However, he can play some defensive tackle as well. So all the more reason for him to stay on the team. Then you've also got Justin Tratau. I think I'm saying that right. Tratau! Oh, sorry, I didn't emphasize on the tau quite the way I was. It's Justin Tratau! Tratau! Yeah, there we go. That's better. And then rookie, Daniel Hunter. So I think you've technically got those 5 DNs locked in for sure. And then you've got Joseph and Floyd and Johnson all at defensive tackle. Now that's not quite enough, even though, like I said, you do have Scott Crichton, or Crichton, however you say it, who can play some defensive tackle primarily in pass rushing situations. But you're still going to want probably at least 1 more big body, if not 2 more big bodies on that defensive line at D-tackle yet. And with the injury to that, Stephen Lamar, or I don't know, whatever the heck his name is. But with a recent injury now to other depth players at tackle, it goes to show you the value of players like a Scott Crichton, like a Marcus Sherrills even, like a Rhett Ellison, like a Matt Asiata, who can play multiple positions. They're not just locked in to know he's just a strong outside lineman.